Headquarters.
In Washington, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy has joined other lawmakers in introducing an act that Cassidy says will help people who have both Medicare and Medicaid. Federal funding pays for Medicare while state funding pays for Medicaid. People who are enrolled in both programs are referred to as duals. And Cassidy says those people don't do as well as those who have only one or the other.
Speak of duals, they cost almost twice as much as the average Medicare patient, but their outcomes are far worse. So on average, a dual eligible will die 15 years earlier than a non-dual eligible patient. So we're spending more money and we're getting worse outcomes.
Have drafted a bill that would create a new framework for Medicare and Medicaid patients. He says it would make the two programs work together to give better care to patients at a lower cost to taxpayers. East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome got an endorsement from Congressman Troy Carter in her race to stay in her seat. Carter writes in part, quote, "While in our nation's capital, I'm proud that I get to boast about the improvements our state's capital city have made over the better part of the last decade, made possible by the leadership, decision-making, and vision of Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome. Broome will be running for mayor against former state representative Ted James. We'll let you know if anyone else hops in that race. U.S. senators are sparring over the House bill that could ban TikTok unless its Chinese owner sells the app. The House passed the bill with an overwhelming majority, but the Senate seems not to be as enthusiastic. Washington, D.C. correspondent Hannah Brandt explains why.
Lawmakers have no shortage of TikTok attacks.
Enormous national security threat.
Senator Mark Warner is one of many lawmakers warning the Chinese-owned app could be used to steal Americans' data and spread propaganda or misinformation. In a rare bipartisan vote, the House passed a bill to force TikTok's owner ByteDance to sell the app or face a U.S. ban.
We're not trying to eliminate something that a lot of people like, but we're just trying to make sure that ultimately that control is not held by the Communist Party of China.
But the bill still has to pass over in the Senate, which may be more of an uphill battle.
TikTok is spending a gob of money to influence the Senate.
Senator Josh Hawley is all for a TikTok ban, but says he's worried big tech will use its influence to kill any possible vote.
Nothing moves across the Senate floor if big tech doesn't want it.
And some are raising free speech concerns. Senator J.D. Vance says there's a lot he likes about the bill, but
we have to make sure that this stuff isn't overbroad. You don't want to penalize people's ability to participate in the public debate. You don't want to go after the First Amendment right to free speech.
Senator Maria Cantwell chairs the committee that could decide whether the bill gets a vote. In a statement, she did not support the House bill, instead promising to, quote, try to find a path forward that is constitutional and protects civil liberties. If the Senate does pass the bill, that doesn't necessarily mean an end to TikTok. Senator Warner points out a U.S. owner could buy the app.
I think the TikTok experience will continue.
President Biden says if senators do send the bill to his desk, he'll sign it into law. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Up next, we'll have a look at the week ahead on your local election headquarters.